Genesis 39. Now, Joseph was taken down to Egypt, and Potiphar, the Egyptian, a captain of high position in Pharaoh's house, got him for a price from the Ishmaelites, who had taken him there. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he did well, and he was living in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, making everything he did go well. And having a high opinion of Joseph as his servant, he made him the overseer of his house, and gave him control over all he had. And from the time when he made him overseer, and gave him control of all his property, the blessing of the Lord was with the Egyptian. Because of Joseph, the blessing of the Lord was on all he had, in the house, and in the field. And he gave Joseph control of all his property, keeping no account of anything, but only the food, which was put before him. Now, Joseph was very beautiful in form and face. And, after a time, his master's wife, looking on Joseph with desire, said to him, "Be my lover." But he would not, and said to her, "You see that my master keeps no account of what I do in his house, and has put all his property in my control, so that no one has more authority in this house than I have. He has kept nothing back from me, but you, because you are his wife. How then may I do this great wrong, sinning against God?" And, day after day, she went on requesting Joseph to come to her, and be her lover, but he would not give ear to her. Now, one day he went into the house to do his work, and not one of the men of the house was inside. And, pulling at his coat, she said, "Come to my bed," but slipping out of his coat, he went running away. And when she saw that he had gotten away, letting her keep his coat, she sent for the men of her house, and said to them, "See, he has let a Hebrew come here, and make sport of us. He came to my bed, and I gave a loud cry, and hearing it, he went running out without his coat." And she kept his coat by her, till his master came back. Then she gave him the same story, saying, "The Hebrew servant, whom you have taken into our house, came in to make sport of me, and when I gave a loud cry, he went running out without his coat." And hearing his wife's account of what his servant had done, he became very angry. And Joseph's master took him, and put him in prison, in the place where the king's prisoners were kept in chains, and he was there, in the prison house. But the Lord was with Joseph, and was good to him, and made the keeper of the prison his friend. And, the keeper of the prison, put all the prisoners under Joseph's control, and he was responsible for whatever was done there. And the keeper of the prison gave no attention to anything which was under his care, because the Lord was with him, and the Lord made everything he did go well. Genesis 40. Now, after these things, the chief servant, who had the care of the wine, and the chief bread maker in Pharaoh's house, did something against Pharaoh's orders, and Pharaoh was angry with his two servants, with the chief wine servant, and the chief bread maker, and he put them in prison, under the care of the captain of the army, in the same prison, where Joseph, himself, was shut up. And the captain put them in Joseph's care, and he did what was needed for them, and they were kept in prison, for some time. And these two had a dream, on the same night, the chief wine servant, and the chief bread maker, of the king of Egypt, who were in prison. The two of them had dreams with a special sense. And in the morning, when Joseph came to them, he saw that they were looking sad. And he said to the servants of Pharaoh, who were in prison with him, "Why are you looking so sad?" Then they said to him, "We have had a dream, and no one is able to give us the sense." And Joseph said, "Does not the sense of dreams come from God? What was your dream?" Then the chief wine servant gave Joseph an account of his dream, and said, "In my dream, I saw a vine before me, and on the vine were 3 branches, and it seemed as if it put out buds and flowers, and from them came grapes, ready for cutting. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, and crushing them into Pharaoh's cup, gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand." Then Joseph said, "This is the sense of your dream. The 3 branches are 3 days. After 3 days, Pharaoh will give you honor, and put you back into your place, and you will give him his cup, as you did before, when you were his wine servant. But keep me in mind, when things go well for you, and be good to me, and say a good word for me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this prison, for truly, I was taken by force, from the land of the Hebrews, and I have done nothing, for which I might be put in prison." Now, when the chief bread maker saw that the first dream had a good sense, he said to Joseph, "I had a dream, and in my dream, there were 3 baskets of white bread on my head, and in the top basket were all sorts of cooked meats for Pharaoh, and the birds were taking them out of the baskets, on my head." Then Joseph said, "This is the sense of your dream. The 3 baskets are 3 days. After 3 days, Pharaoh will take you out of prison, hanging you on a tree, so that your flesh will be food for birds." Now, the 3rd day was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a feast for all his servants, and he gave honor to the chief wine servant, and the chief bread maker, among the others. And he put the chief wine servant back in his old place, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But the chief bread maker was put to death by hanging, as Joseph had said. But the wine servant did not keep Joseph in mind, or give a thought to him. Genesis 41. Now, after 2 years had gone by, Pharaoh had a dream, and, in his dream, he was by the side of the Nile, and out of the Nile came 7 cows, good-looking, and fat, and their food was the river grass. And after them, 7 other cows came out of the Nile, poor-looking, and thin, and they were by the side of the other cows. And the 7 thin cows made a meal of the 7 fat cows. Then Pharaoh came out of his sleep. But he went to sleep again, and had a second dream, in which he saw 7 heads of grain, full, and good, all on one stem. And after them came up 7 other heads, thin, and wasted by the east wind. And the 7 thin heads made a meal of the good heads. And when Pharaoh was awake, he saw it was a dream. And in the morning, his spirit was troubled, and he sent for all the wise men of Egypt, and all the holy men, and put his dream before them, but no one was able to give him the sense of it. Then the chief wine servant said to Pharaoh, "The memory of my sin comes back to me." Now Pharaoh had been angry with his servants, and had put me in prison, in the house of the captain of the army, together with the chief bread maker, and we had a dream on the same night, the 2 of us, and the dreams had a special sense. And there was with us a young Hebrew, the captain's servant, and when we put our dreams before him, he gave us the sense of them. And it came about as he said, I was put back in my place, and the bread maker was put to death by hanging. Then Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and they took him quickly out of prison, and, when his hair had been cut, and his dress changed, he came before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have had a dream, and no one is able to give me the sense of it. Now, it has come to my ears, that you are able to give the sense of a dream, when it is put before you. Then Joseph said, Without God, there will be no answer of peace for Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh said, In my dream, I was by the side of the Nile, and out of the Nile came 7 cows, fat, and good-looking, and their food was the river grass. Then, after them, came 7 other cows, very thin, and poor-looking, worse than any I ever saw in the land of Egypt. And the thin cows made a meal of the 7 fat cows who came up first, and even with the fat cows inside them, they seemed as bad as before. And so I came out of my sleep. And again, in a dream, I saw 7 heads of grain, full, and good, coming up on one stem, and then I saw 7 other heads, dry, thin, and wasted by the east wind, coming up after them, and the 7 thin heads made a meal of the 7 good heads, and I put this dream before the wise men. But not one of them was able to give me the sense of it. Then Joseph said, These 2 dreams have the same sense. God has made clear to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 fat cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. The 2 have the same sense. The 7 thin and poor-looking cows, who came up after them, are 7 years, and the 7 heads of grain, dry, and wasted by the east wind, are 7 years when there will be no food. As I said to Pharaoh before, God has made clear to him what he is about to do. 7 years are coming in which there will be great wealth of grain in Egypt, and after that, will come 7 years, when there will not be enough food, and the memory of the good years will go from men's minds, and the land will be made waste by the bad years, and men will have no memory of the good time, because of the need which will come after, for it will be very bitter. And this dream came to Pharaoh twice, because this thing is certain, and God will quickly make it come about. And now, let Pharaoh make search for a man of wisdom, and good sense, and put him in authority over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him put overseers over the land of Egypt, to put in store 1/5 part of the produce of the land in the good years. And let them get together all the food in those good years, and make a store of grain under Pharaoh's control, for the use of the towns, and let them keep it. And let that food be kept in store for the land, till the 7 bad years which are to come in Egypt, so that the land may not come to destruction through need of food. And this seemed good to Pharaoh, and to all his servants. Then Pharaoh said to his servants, Where may we get such a man as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God? And Pharaoh said to Joseph, seeing that God has made all this clear to you, there is no other man of such wisdom and good sense as you. You, then, are to be over my house, and all my people will be ruled by your word. Only as king will I be greater than you." And Pharaoh said to Joseph, "See, I have put you over all the land of Egypt." Then Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand, and put it on Joseph's hand, and he had him clothed with the best linen, and put a chain of gold round his neck, and he made him take his seat in the second of his carriages, and they went before him crying, "Make way." So he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I am Pharaoh, and without your order, no man may do anything in all the land of Egypt." And Pharaoh gave Joseph the name of Zaphnath-Paneah, and he gave him Asnath, the daughter of Potiphar, the priest of On, to be his wife. So Joseph went through all the land of Egypt. Now Joseph was 30 years old when he came before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from before the face of Pharaoh, and went through all the land of Egypt. Now in the 7 good years, the earth gave fruit in masses. And Joseph got together all the food of those 7 years, and made a store of food in the towns. The produce of the fields round every town was stored up in the town. So he got together a store of grain like the sand of the sea, so great a store, that after a time he gave up measuring it, for it might not be measured. And before the time of need, Joseph had 2 sons, to whom Asnath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, gave birth. And to the first he gave the name Manasseh, for he said, "God has taken away from me all memory of my hard life, and of my father's house." And to the second he gave the name Ephraim, for he said, "God has given me fruit in the land of my sorrow." And so the 7 good years in Egypt came to an end. Then came the first of the 7 years of need, as Joseph had said, and in every other land they were short of food, but in the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt was in need of food, the people came crying to Pharaoh for bread, and Pharaoh said to the people, "Go to Joseph, and whatever he says to you, do it." And everywhere on the earth they were short of food. Then Joseph, opening all his storehouses, gave the people of Egypt grain for money, so great was the need of food in the land of Egypt. And all lands sent to Egypt, to Joseph, to get grain, for the need was great over all the earth. Genesis 42. Now Jacob, hearing that there was grain in Egypt, said to his sons, "Why are you looking at one another?" And he said, "I have had news that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there, and get grain for us, so that life, and not death, may be ours." So Joseph's 10 brothers went down to get grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with them, for fear, as he said, that some evil might come to him. And the sons of Israel came, with all the others, to get grain, for they were very short of food, in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was ruler over all the land, and it was he who gave out the grain to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came before him, and went down on their faces to the earth. And when Joseph saw his brothers, it was clear to him who they were, but he made himself strange to them, and talking roughly to them, said, "Where do you come from?" And they said, "From the land of Canaan, to get food." Now though Joseph saw that these were his brothers, they had no idea who he was. Then the memory of his dreams about them came back to Joseph, and he said to them, "You have come secretly to see how poor the land is." And they said to him, "Not so, my lord, your servants have come with money, to get food. We are all one man's sons, we are true men, we have not come with any secret purpose." And he said to them, "No, but you have come to see how poor the land is." Then they said, "We, your servants, are 12 brothers, sons of one man in the land of Canaan. The youngest of us is now with our father, and one is dead." And Joseph said, "It is as I said, you have come with some secret purpose, but in this way will you be put to the test, by the life of Pharaoh. You will not go away from this place, till your youngest brother comes here. Send one of your number, to get your brother, and the rest of you will be kept in prison, so that your words may be tested to see if you are true. If not, by the life of Pharaoh, your purpose is certainly secret." So he put them in prison for 3 days. And on the 3rd day, Joseph said to them, "Do this, if you would keep your lives, for I am a God-fearing man. If you are true men, let one of you be kept in prison, while you go and take grain for the needs of your families, and come back to me with your youngest brother, so that your words may be seen to be true, and you will not be put to death. This is what you are to do." And they said to one another, "Truly, we did wrong to our brother, for we saw his grief of mind, and we did not give ear to his prayers. That is why this trouble has come on us." And Reuben said to them, "Did I not say to you, do the child no wrong? But you gave no attention, so now punishment has come on us, for his blood." They were not conscious that the sense of their words was clear to Joseph, for he had been talking to them through one who had knowledge of their language. And, turning away from them, he was overcome with weeping. Then he went on talking to them again, and took Simeon, and put chains on him before their eyes. Then Joseph gave orders for their bags to be made full of grain, and for every man's money to be put back into his bag, and for food to be given them for the journey, which was done. Then they put the bags of grain on their asses, and went away. Now, at their night's resting place, one of them, opening his bag to give his ass some food, saw his money in the mouth of the bag. And he said to his brothers, "My money has been given back, it is in my bag." Then their hearts became full of fear, and turning to one another they said, "What is this which God has done to us?" So, when they came to Jacob, their father, in the land of Canaan, they gave him an account of all their experiences, saying, "The man, who is the ruler of the country, was rough with us, and put us in prison, saying that we had come with a secret evil purpose. And we said to him, 'We are true men, we have no evil designs. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father, one is dead, and the youngest is now with our father, in the land of Canaan.' And the ruler of the land said, 'In this way I may be certain that you are true men. Let one of you be kept here with me, while you go and take grain for the needs of your families, and come back to me with your youngest brother. Then I will be certain that you are true men, and I will give your brother back to you, and let you do trade in the land.' And when they took the grain out of their bags, it was seen that every man's parcel of money was in his bag. And when they, and their father, saw the money, they were full of fear. And Jacob, their father, said to them, 'You have taken my children from me. Joseph is gone, and Simeon is gone, and now you would take Benjamin away. All these things have come on me.' And Reuben said, 'Put my 2 sons to death. If I do not come back to you with him, let him be in my care, and I will give him safely back to you.' And he said, 'I will not let my son go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is all I have. If evil overtakes him on the journey, Then, through you, will my grey head go down to the underworld in sorrow. No, the land was in bitter need of food,